3, 4, 5. CINC Rev 2021. What a great opportunity to share with some of the best, brightest minds around the country, all using the CINC platform or interested in using the CINC platform. Welcome. My name is Geoff Adams with the Agent Collective out of Arizona. I cover the Phoenix market, Tucson, as well as some mountain communities. And today I would like to share with you our 5 moneymakers. Now this is a very powerful tool, whether you're an individual agent or whether you're running a small or even large team. And our 5 moneymakers are the 5 ways that we always interact with a lead in CINC. And sometimes we're interacting with the lead in CINC because we've just had a conversation or we have a client on the phone. Other times because as part of our prospecting, we're starting to see some of the behavioral things that the clients are doing and making some adjustments to our 5 moneymakers. So we'll talk about that right now. We'll get back to that in a minute. All right, the 5 moneymakers. So these are the 5 things that we do with every lead in CINC when we are interacting with it. So I'm going to go through them, and then I'm going to pull in our CINC platform and kind of walk you through an example of how we do these things. So the 5 moneymakers are: 1, add a great pinned note. So folks, this is huge. This is where a lot of the magic happens in the rapport building. And what we're doing when we're reaching out to clients is we're looking to have a meaningful conversation. And a meaningful conversation is getting to the nitty-gritty of what's going on in their lives, what's going on in their real estate goals. And that comes through a lot of great questions and a lot of great listening. Now, if you ask amazing questions and you do some great listening and you don't document the results of those conversations, you really lost a huge opportunity. So what are we listening for? What are we talking about? So we're listening for, of course, what's going on in their real estate life. You know, where are they coming from? Where do they want to go? What is it that they're looking for in this transition and in their new property or in their investment? And we do that through a lot of open-ended questions. But the other thing that we're listening for when we listen to the answers is we want to hear about them. We want to really key in on the pain points that they're experiencing, the pleasure points that they're looking for, and what's the key things in their life. What are their families' names? What's their pets' names? What are their hobbies? Things that we can connect with that's not necessarily just all business. That all goes into the notes. Why is that so important? Because when we follow up with these folks, and folks, you run a CINC platform, you're going to have a lot of leads in there. You're going to lose track of these conversations. You're not going to remember them. Even if, you know, it seems like you and them could be brothers or sisters, and you both have Yorkies, and you all like the Packers. Like, you're gonna have this great conversation, and it's just gonna be this great connection, and you're gonna call them a week, 2 weeks, a month later for your reminder follow-up. You're not gonna remember that, especially if you're working 100 or more clients. So you've got to put the notes in there. I'm going to give you an example of how important it is. So I'm going to share 2 scripts with you right now. One where we took really good notes and one where we don't have really good notes. And I'm going to start with the one with not really good notes. And that phone call is going to go something like this. Hey, it's Geoff. Just following up. Wanted to see if you got those properties that I emailed you and see what you thought about them. How are you today? That is not a great call. Now, if you are out showing folks and you're in the zone and you're like, hey, what do you want to see tomorrow? What do you want to see today? You know, that may be an appropriate conversation, and you're going to be much more in rapport with those folks that you're out showing. But those folks that you're only calling every month, that's not a great lead-in. That's not a great way to earn the rapport and earn the business. Now, I'm going to give you the second script on the call with great notes. Hey Susan, I'm just calling to see how Fluffy's doing. How's that Yorkie baby you got? What's the reaction there? It might be, who the heck is this? Answer is, hey, it's Geoff Adams, your Phoenix realtor. We talked a month ago. I was just following up to say, hi, how's it going? Oh, yeah. Oh, my Yorkie baby is great. Okay, folks, so powerful. It's a completely different conversation. One is a sales call, and one is a rapport building mastery. It's awesome, folks, and it all revolves around moneymaker number one. All right, so let's talk about moneymaker number two, update the pipeline status. Folks, this lets us know the priority level for each of the clients. And we've got, CINC has default F1, P1. We have adapted our CINC platform a little bit to use some keywords that we like to use, like hot, nurture, watch. So it lets, regardless of what system that you're using, it lets you know where they're at in that priority process. And it also helps you key in on how often you should be communicating with them. So pipeline status, it is moneymaker number two. Moneymaker number three, set a reminder for the next contact. And again, we're keying off the pipeline status. So for our group, if they're going to be doing something in the next 90 days, we consider those folks hot. We are having a weekly conversation. And you notice I said weekly conversation, right? I didn't say weekly text message, weekly email. Weekly conversation, which means we may have to call them a couple times in order to engage them on the phone. Better yet, on our prior conversation, we set an appointment for the call, and hopefully they're available to pick up. So further examples. So if we are in the nurture or watch stages, so those are going to be 3 months to 6 months out, and then 6 months to a year. And those are conversations every 2 weeks or conversations every month. Longer than a year, we're still having that monthly conversation, folks. And we're having that monthly conversation because who knows, things change. If you wait 2 months or 3 months or 4 months for those folks that are 18 months out, you never know what's going on in their lives. They may have popped into town to visit a relative or come to an event, or maybe their job change happened earlier than they expected. And so by not giving them that touch every month with the reminder that you've set based on the pipeline status, you're really setting yourself up for that terrible call that if you've been in the business very long, you've probably had it, and it's, hey, it's Geoff. How's that Yorkie baby? Oh, Geoff, thanks for calling. You guys at Realty One Group are so awesome. We came into town for the golf tournament last month, and man, we called on the sign, and Susan took such great care of us. We love our new house. Thanks for calling. Crap, right? Okay, so you're going to stay out of that. You're going to not have that conversation when you're setting the right reminders. Moneymaker number three. All right, so moneymaker number four, update the search parameters. Hey, how awesome is CINC's automation? I get calls pretty regularly that says, oh, Geoff, hey, thanks for sending me those properties. Yeah, we'd like to go look at that one. And me, I'm like, crap, oh yeah, I can't wait to see it with you. Which property was it that you liked? My response is because CINC sends out these great communications on our behalf automatically. Here's the caveat, and here's our responsibility as CINC platform users, is we have got to set up the right search parameters. And the right search parameters will allow CINC to send relevant property information. What are the right search parameters? Well, you want to make sure that whatever the search is, so if we're talking about Phoenix, under 500,000, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, with a pool, that there's some kind of results. So we want, I don't know, I'd like to see at least 30 results come up from that search, up to a couple hundred. Now we don't want thousands. If I get thousands of results, it usually means my search parameters are too wide. So I like to dial it in between 50 and maybe a few hundred. What happens when you dial that search parameter in to an appropriate amount of results is they're getting relevant content automatically from the CINC platform regularly from you. It appears to come from you, but no work on your end other than setting these search parameters up correctly. So you also want to adjust the frequency. So if they're 18 months out, they probably don't need a daily email, maybe a couple times a week. So you can update that frequency. And I'm going to show everyone how to do that in a second in case you're not familiar. So the fifth moneymaker is to add appropriate labels. Now, why is that so important? It's so important because we're not in this career and we didn't dive into a CINC platform for the short term. We're in it for the long game. And that's why, hey, we pay a premium for this level of service and this level of technology and the continued growth that the CINC tech team is doing to help us stay ahead of technological trends. We are in this for the long game. And our labels is what really pays off for us in the long game as we build a database. A database has a lot of value, and that's what our CINC platform is. So how do we leverage labels? Well, labels is how we slice and dice the metadata, the big data. I mean, when you see our platform, you'll see we have over 100,000 leads in there. When we want to find a certain segment of that database, the labels is where it comes into play. And if you're not adding the labels or you're not training your agents to add the labels, you're really missing out on that future opportunity to leverage this database in the highest capacity. And I'll give you a couple simple examples. So if, for example, we have a beat up property that's been a rental for years on college campus, and it would be a really great investment property for someone, to be able to come back to your CINC platform, and if everyone has diligently added investor labels to everyone that they've run across that is an investor, man, you can add that label, you can send out a quick communication to everybody really quickly and get some immediate responses and have a buyer for that new listing or that new potential listing in a heartbeat. That's the power of that data. And it comes from the labels. All right, folks, so these are the 5 moneymakers. I'm going to pull in my platform here. Let's take a look at it. And let's see, picked out a couple leads. So let's see, so let's look at Terry here. And let's run through her 5 moneymakers. So if I just talked with Terry, then I would run through the 5 moneymakers, and I would want to update each of them. So I would want to add a great note, and I'm going to share a really cool technology that we use. If you're on your phone and you're taking notes in the CINC app, both with Apple and Android, you can hit that microphone and you can talk your notes into it, which is freaking awesome. I love it. And I love it because my thumbs are real fat and I can't spell very well. And so by the time my note's done, it looks like a lot of gibberish, and I spend more time going back, spell correcting, and getting rid of letters where there should be spaces and stuff. I learned to talk into my phone. Well, I want to talk into my computer too. So what I found is a Chrome extension that's called Voice in Voice, and I'm sure there's a couple more out there that maybe people like. That's the one that I use, and it's real easy. You just click the little microphone up here, and then everything that I say is typed into a text box. And there it is in the note. So, and I can just click it off. I love it, and I train my agents to use it because it's so powerful. You can create this amazingly robust note without having to spend all the time to type it and spell check it and go back for grammar. Man, just say it to your computer, put the great note in, and move on with your prospecting. So that's moneymaker number 1, and a little tip on how to be as efficient as possible with that. So moneymaker number 2 it is the pipeline status. So we always want to change that. We did something kind of cool, and we have a little key in here. So for each of our pipeline statuses, there's also a reminder on when to set your reminder. So in this case, we've got long-term, 12 plus months. This is a monthly conversation. So here's our pipeline statuses, and we definitely want to pick that so we can slice and dice our now data and figure out who we need to be following up with, and really know where each of these folks is at. Moneymaker number 2 is to set the reminder. So we're just going to go over here, going to add a new reminder. And again, you can use that voice in voice technology if you'd like to set that reminder for yourself. And let's see. All right, so let's look at Terry's saved searches. So one thing that's kind of important with this, and I'm going to switch to, oh, look at that, another Terry. So CINC is really cool, and when a new lead comes in, it immediately starts tracking what that client is looking at. And when a client comes in and is looking at $300,000 homes in Casa Grande, and then all of a sudden they want to see how the other half lives, and they're looking at $4 million homes in Paradise Valley, it is a problem. And it's a problem because CINC assumes initially that whatever they're clicking on is what they are looking to buy. And why it's so important that every time we interact with a lead that we do this 4th moneymaker is to make sure that we're looking at this and making sure that whatever they clicked on is relevant to their search. And so we're looking for a consistency within what they looked at. So here's a lead with 46 views. We're gonna fire that open here. And what we want to do is we want to look at each of these and make sure that these that what they're looking for is relevant to their search. Now, if I get them on the phone and I can have a great conversation with them, of course, I'll be able to dial that in over the scope of the conversation. But if I don't get them on the phone, I want CINC's automation to be sending them really good stuff. So I'm going to look quickly through this and make sure it's consistent. So in the case of this lead, we're right on the money. Everything is looking pretty good. It's all in that same price point. The only thing that I noticed over here is they are looking all over the gosh darn state. So that's a little concerning. I definitely want to get these folks on the phone to make sure that they know that Yarnell is not very close to Buckeye, Arizona. But I probably would leave this open since they might be exploring the whole state. All right, so just to show you how that looks, we're going to go into our first Terry, and we can just edit. Can remove search features here. I like that she's got at least 52 results, so she's engaged daily. Now that may be a little bit too much since she's far out, so I'm going to move her to, let's see, let's move her to, how about Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We'll just slow down the results a little bit. We only have 52 right now. And then I can make any changes. Go ahead and hit save. If I want to email her really quickly, by the way, there's a really cool thing to generate a link. I can just grab that link and send her an email with the 52 search results. So awesome. So my final moneymaker is to add a label. So if I get her on the phone and she's in credit repair, which might be why she's so far out, we want to add that. Maybe she's renting or retiring. Like, we want to create those buckets in our database so we can come back to them either in the near term or to track them over the long haul. All right, folks, so those are my 5 money makers. And just make sure I hit all my notes here, got all my little tips and tricks in there. So yeah, it's thank you so much for watching the video. Here's my contact information. If if you'd ever like to reach out to me, hear more about the technology that we're building, the Callthenticate, Tritexta, our free sale by owner technology, you're ever looking for education or coaching, or just want to talk real estate, hey, give me a call, shoot me an email, and thank you so much for hanging out.